You ever get that feeling that you're just there? Like a background character in your own family sitcom, except there's no laugh track and definitely no happy ending? That's been my life. My twin brother, Ryan, was the star quarterback with the movie star smile. The guy who could charm his way out of a speeding ticket or into any party. Me, I was a kid who spent Friday nights debugging code and eating cold pizza. I figured one day, after proving I could build something real for myself, my family would finally see me. Guess what? Life isn't a Disney movie. Graduation day. The grand finale of 4 years spent dodging bullies, cramming for finals, and wondering if I'd ever use the Pythagorean theorem in real life. Everyone was buzzing about their summer trips, college plans, or how many followers they gained from their cap and gown selfies. I wasn't expecting fireworks in my honor, but maybe a little nod of appreciation. Instead, I got a front row seat to Ryan's greatest hits. The ceremony ended, and families swarmed the parking lot like it was Black Friday at Best Buy. I spotted my parents holding a gift. My brain actually thought, no way. Is this my moment? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. The shiny Tesla with a bow the size of Texas? That was Ryan's. My dad handed him the keys like he was knighting him. Ryan grinned, probably already imagining his Instagram caption. Meanwhile, I got an envelope. My hand shook as I opened it, half hoping for anything that said, "Hey Alex, we see you." Instead, bills. Stacks of them. Electricity, water, even Ryan's NFL streaming package. The note read, "We know you're good with money. Can you help us out?" Seriously? They turned me into the human version of Venmo. I wanted to scream, throw the envelope, or at least ask, "Are you kidding me?" But I didn't. I took a deep breath, forced a smile that probably looked like I was passing a kidney stone, and said, "Thanks. This is thoughtful." My sarcasm was so thick you could spread it on a bagel. My mom blinked like I was speaking in Morse code. My dad patted my shoulder, oblivious. And Ryan? He was already revving the engine, probably debating whether to hit the beach or the mall first. I stood there holding my gift, wondering when I became the family's accountant. No one noticed when I walked away. No one called after me. That was the moment I realized I was always the backup character to Ryan's lead role. But I never thought that a gift on graduation day would be the final straw. I left graduation day behind, like an old hoodie that didn't fit anymore. That moment, holding that stack of bills, flipped a switch in my head. Screw being the reliable one, the backup twin, the human piggy bank. I packed my things, emptied my savings account, and rented the cheapest Airbnb I could find, a tiny studio with a futon that had definitely seen better days, a microwave that sounded like it was auditioning for a horror movie, and a mini fridge that hummed louder than a truck on the freeway. Glamorous, right? The first night, I sat on the floor with a cold gas station burrito and a can of off-brand soda, wondering if I'd lost my mind. But honestly, it felt good, peaceful. No Ryan blasting music, no parents asking me to fix the Wi-Fi, no passive-aggressive comments about my screen time. Just me, my questionable life choices, and a futon spring digging into my back. I figured my absence would go unnoticed, but by day 2, my phone blew up like the 4th of July. Missed calls, texts, voicemails. Mom, Dad, Ryan. Over and over. I stared at the screen, thinking about all the times they ignored me. Now, suddenly, I was a priority. I tried to distract myself by binge-watching bad reality TV, but even the overly dramatic contestants couldn't compete with the circus that was my family. The guilt tried to creep in, but then I remembered that envelope. I let the calls go to voicemail, each one more frantic than the last. Ryan's message, full of fake concern. Something about, "Dude, where are you?" Mom's worried. And also, the Wi-Fi isn't working. Can you fix it remotely? Classic. I laughed so hard, I nearly choked on my burrito. Yeah, Ryan, let me drop everything and fix your connection so you can stream your workout playlists. By day 3, my mom finally left a message that stuck with me. Her voice cracked as she said, "Alex, we've always supported you. Please, just call us." Supported me? The irony hit me harder than a Black Friday stampede at Target. Was paying their bills their version of support? Was watching Ryan get showered with praise while I played tech support their idea of encouragement? I tossed my phone onto the lumpy futon and whispered to myself, "You should have thought of that before handing me a stack of utilities." The bitterness in my voice felt foreign but right. For once, I wasn't the pushover twin. I wasn't sure how long I'd stay in that tiny studio with its flickering light and suspicious stains on the carpet that I pretended not to see. I missed home-cooked meals, my own bed, and not having to worry if my microwave was plotting against me. But going back, that felt like signing up for another season of Ignore Alex. No thanks. But that voicemail from my mom, it lingered in my head like an earworm I couldn't shake. And that's when the real tension started brewing. The ding of an email notification pulled me out of my microwave mac and cheese-induced daze. I almost ignored it, figuring it was another spam ad promising me a free cruise or a prince from some far-off country needing my bank info. But nope, it was from my dad. Subject line, "Let's talk." Curiosity got the best of me. I clicked. It was long, like scrolling for days long. The gist? My parents were drowning in debt. Mortgage payments, credit cards, loans. They were juggling more bills than a circus clown on energy drinks. And Ryan? Turns out the golden boy had zero savings. Not exactly shocking. I mean, the guy once spent $300 on sneakers he wore twice and lost $500 betting on a fantasy football league. But here's the kicker. They were counting on me. Me, the quiet twin with a remote IT job, to be their financial safety net. My dad even wrote, "We knew you'd be responsible enough to help." I almost dropped my fork. Responsible? More like conveniently useful. I wasn't mad about the debt. Life happens. But buying Ryan a Tesla while barely keeping the lights on, that stung. My mind spiraled. Did they ever really believe in me? Or was I just their backup plan? My fingers hovered over the keyboard, itching to type out a snarky reply. Something like, "Oh, so now I'm the favorite?" Cool timing. Instead, I slammed my laptop shut. I grabbed a bag of stale Cheetos from the counter, pacing the room like I was plotting world domination. Rent, utilities, groceries, my own bills. And now, somehow, I was supposed to float my parents and my financially reckless twin. Yeah, hard pass. I thought about calling Ryan, just to hear how he'd spin this. Probably something about how family sticks together while sipping a $7 artisanal latte. That night, my phone rang. Tired of dodging calls, I answered without checking the ID. Big mistake. It was Aunt Linda, the family's self-appointed peacemaker. She meant well, but her calls always felt like therapy sessions I never signed up for. She jumped straight in, no hello, no small talk. She'd heard about the situation and thought maybe I was being too harsh. Classic. I leaned back against a creaky futon, trying to keep my cool. But then she dropped the line that sent me over the edge. They just wanted the best for Ryan. You know that. I couldn't help it. The sarcasm flowed out before I could stop it. Sure, because nothing says best like a luxury car bought on borrowed money. Silence. For the first time, Aunt Linda didn't have a comeback. Just a soft, awkward, "Oh, I didn't realize it was that bad." Her hesitation only confirmed what I suspected all along. My parents never expected me to shine. They just needed me to clean up the mess. And that realization, it burned. I kept my distance, ignoring calls and texts like they were spam emails promising me $1 million if I just clicked a shady link. But Aunt Linda's words kept echoing in my head. Ryan was starting to realize how much I had done for the family. Yeah, sure. That sounded about as believable as a gas station sushi special. Still, it bugged me. I remembered all those childhood moments that painted a pretty clear picture. Ryan got new cleats every season, top-of-the-line football gear, and out-of-state training camps. Me, I was buying second-hand textbooks off eBay and hoping my laptop didn't die mid-semester. I guess being the responsible one meant figuring it out on my own. The memories gnawed at me like a bad Taco Bell decision at 2 a.m. I thought about calling back, maybe hearing Ryan out. But every time I reached for my phone, my mind flashed back to that stack of bills. The electricity, the mortgage, the NFL package I never watched but somehow had to pay for. Yeah, no thanks. Day after day, the texts piled up. Mom's guilt trips, Dad's awkward attempts at small talk, Ryan's half-hearted bro, let's talk messages. It was like a group project where no one did the work, but everyone wanted credit. My Airbnb started feeling like a bunker. Not fancy, but safe. I stocked up on ramen noodles, gas station coffee, and frozen dinners. A true culinary experience, Michelin star worthy if you ask me. I even found myself talking to the microwave like it was my therapist. You believe this, Kenmore? Unreal. It beat back in solidarity. Real connection. Then, out of nowhere, Ryan called. I stared at the screen, debating whether to answer or let it ring into oblivion. Curiosity won. I picked up, expecting another guilt trip or some request to fix his Wi-Fi. But his voice? It wasn't the cocky, everything-comes-easy tone I knew too well. It was shaky, almost defeated. He dropped the bomb. Our parents had sold the Tesla. The shiny, over-the-top symbol of favoritism? Gone. Sold to cover debts. I sat there, stunned, my microwave beeping in the background, like it knew this moment needed a soundtrack. Ryan kept talking, saying how he never realized how bad things were, how much pressure our parents were under. I wanted to feel vindicated, to gloat. But instead, all I felt was this weird mix of relief and confusion. Part of me thought, finally they get it. But another part wondered, why did it take selling a car for them to see the mess they made? My head spun. And just like that, the cracks in my emotional walls started to show. Relief washed over me, like the first sip of gas station coffee after pulling an all-nighter. Ryan, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Everything Come Easy, had finally hit a wall. And not just any wall. The kind that smacks you so hard you rethink every life choice. The Tesla was gone. My parents' house of cards was crumbling. And me? I wasn't drowning with them. But here's the thing. They weren't exactly thrilled with my newfound independence. My mom left voicemails filled with teary apologies, and we didn't mean to burden you. My dad sent texts about how family sticks together. And Ryan? He sent one pathetic 2-word text. I'm sorry. Cute. I sat in my Airbnb, munching on stale popcorn and sipping flat soda, thinking about all the times I bailed Ryan out, covering his bar tabs, helping him with homework he couldn't be bothered to finish, even driving him home after his legendary parties. I remembered sitting alone in my room, wondering if anyone in my family even knew I existed when Ryan's latest touchdown made the front page of the local paper. And now he was calling me for help. I finally answered. His voice cracked. He wasn't the cocky twin anymore. He was broken. He told me selling the Tesla crushed him, that watching our parents panic over bills made him realize how much I carried. I let him talk, silently enjoying the role reversal. It was like watching a high school quarterback fumble during the big game, except this time, there was no crowd to cheer him on. When he asked me what he should do, I couldn't resist. I reminded him of all the times he mocked me for saving money or staying home on weekends. I threw in a sarcastic, guess the Tesla wasn't as important when creditors started calling, huh? I could practically hear him wince through the phone. I could hear him crying. Part of me felt bad, but a bigger part, it felt damn good. This wasn't just about money. It was about every ignored effort, every overlooked achievement. I leaned back on my squeaky futon, smirking, and thought, This is the lesson you all needed. The bitterness in my voice wasn't planned, but it felt natural. Ryan's sobs filled the silence. I thought about giving him a lifeline, about softening the blow. But then I remembered every holiday dinner where my achievements were treated like background noise, while Ryan's latest win was celebrated like the Super Bowl. I ended the call with one last jab. Hope it burns. And honestly, I meant it. The next few days were a blur of microwave meals, late-night YouTube rabbit holes, and ignoring my phone like it was an ex who wanted to just talk. But eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I scrolled through my missed calls, Mom, Dad, even Ryan, but one voicemail stood out. My mom, voice cracking, begging me to come home. She said they miss me, that things weren't the same without me. I almost laughed out loud. Things weren't the same? Yeah, losing your unpaid accountant will do that. I thought about calling back, but instead, I grabbed a gas station hot dog and sat on the rickety balcony of my Airbnb, watching cars zoom by on the highway. The freedom tasted better than a hot dog, which, let's be real, is saying something. I kicked my feet up on a plastic chair that wobbled like my parents' financial decisions and stared at the sunset. For once, I wasn't a guy fixing someone else's problems. Felt weird. Felt good. Then my phone rang again. Mom. I sighed, picked up, and asked her flatly if she missed me or missed the convenience of me. Silence. Finally, she admitted they were overwhelmed. She said they never realized how much I did until I wasn't there to do it. I took a long sip of flat soda and thought, welcome to my world. I didn't expect Dad to call next, but he did. His voice was low, almost embarrassed. He confessed they wanted Ryan to have the best because they thought he'd go far. But they never thought their choices would push me away. I felt a weird mix of anger and pity. For once, I had the upper hand, and honestly, it felt pretty good. I walked around the room, pacing like I was rehearsing for a TED Talk titled, Why Being the Responsible Sibling Sucks. When Mom called back again crying, I asked her point blank, do you regret losing me or losing the Tesla? She didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything I needed to know. I glanced at my half-eaten gas station hot dog, chuckling at how ridiculous my life had become. But weirdly enough, it was the happiest I'd felt in years. For the first time, I felt free. Really free. No more family guilt trips. No more being the responsible one while Ryan lived the dream. I hung up, knowing they wanted me back, but I wasn't about to be their backup plan anymore. The morning after I hung up on my mom, I woke up to the familiar ping of my phone. I groaned, expecting another guilt-laden voicemail or some new plea to come home. But instead, it was a text from Ryan. Short, simple, and unexpected. I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at the screen, half convinced I was still dreaming. Ryan? Apologizing? That was like finding out your gym bro actually read a book for fun. I tossed my phone onto the bed, rolling my eyes. It took losing a car and a financial meltdown for him to realize he'd been a jerk. Cute. I didn't reply. Not because I wanted revenge, but because, for once, I didn't need to. I had spent years craving acknowledgement from my family, and now that it came, it felt hollow. I chuckled bitterly, thinking, oh, now you get it? Memories flooded my mind. The sarcastic comments Ryan always made about my remote job. How he'd laugh and call me the pajama professional while flexing his gym selfies. The endless jabs about my weight when I stress ate during finals or skipped workouts because I was drowning in projects. Back then, I shrugged it off, telling myself that's just how siblings are. But now, it felt different. It felt personal. I walked to the corner store, grabbing a coffee that tasted like burnt rubber and a bag of Doritos that probably shouldn't have been that crunchy. As I sat on the curb, cars honking around me, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Disappointed, sure, but mostly I felt done. Ryan's text didn't spark joy or rage. It just confirmed what I already knew. I didn't need them to move forward. I pulled out my phone. scrolling past Ryan's apology, and started making a list in my notes app. Future plans. Step 1, find a better place to live. Step 2, build my own life, no strings attached. I added things like finally joining that cheap gym down the block, trying every taco truck in town, and figuring out if I actually like hiking or just like buying the gear. For the first time in a long time, my future didn't include fixing someone else's mistakes. It included late-night diner runs, impulse trips to Target, and maybe adopting a dog named Waffles just because I could. And that thought, it felt better than any apology ever could. The universe really does have a twisted sense of humor. Just when I thought I was finally untangling myself from my family's drama, my phone buzzed with a message from Aunt Linda. Apparently, my parents were so desperate they started asking neighbors for loans. I actually laughed out loud, scaring the guy sitting next to me at the bus stop. I mean, seriously? Asking the Hendersons next door for cash? The same neighbors who once called the cops because our dog barked too much? I texted Aunt Linda back, joking. Maybe they should have sold my old textbooks. Pretty sure my calculus book could cover a month of groceries. She replied with a sad face emoji. Classic Aunt Linda. But behind my sarcasm was something heavier. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about pride, expectations, and the weight I carried for years without even realizing it. I thought about all those nights I stayed up working freelance gigs while Ryan partied. All those times I skipped vacations to save money while my parents bought Ryan the latest gadgets. The bitterness bubbled up again, but now it felt different. Lighter. I grabbed a coffee from the corner gas station, the one with the flickering open 24/7 sign, and sat on a plastic chair that wobbled every time a truck passed by. I chuckled to myself, thinking how ridiculous my life had become. But there was comfort in the chaos. My chaos, not theirs. I thought about how American families like mine often chase the dream of appearances, big houses, nice cars, perfect kids. But behind closed doors, it's gas station coffee and overdue bills. Relatable, right? Aunt Linda called me later that night. She said my parents were still hoping I'd come home and fix things. Fix things? Like I was some IT guy for their financial meltdown. I told her I wasn't coming back. Not now. Not ever. She sighed, but I could hear a hint of understanding in her voice. I tossed my phone onto the bed, grabbed a bag of discount chips, and thought about all the fixing I had done my whole life. Paying bills, solving tech problems, being the responsible one while Ryan got a free pass. But not anymore. Hanging up, I realized something. For the first time in years, I wasn't the backup twin, the safety net, the fixer. I was just Alex, some guy eating chips in a cheap Airbnb with a wobbly chair and questionable coffee. And that thought, it felt better than any closure my family could ever offer. A week after Aunt Linda's call, I found an envelope in my mailbox. Handwritten address, no return label. I already knew who it was from. My parents. I sighed, half hoping it was just another stack of bills I could laugh at. But no, it was a letter. 1 page, short and simple. We know we lost you. We're sorry. I read it twice, expecting some wave of emotion to hit me like in those cheesy coming-of-age movies. Nothing. I crumpled it up and tossed it in the trash without a second thought. Lost me? I muttered to myself. You never even noticed I was there. No tears, no rage, just indifference. And honestly, it felt kind of perfect. I grabbed my laptop, opened up a new project, and dove into work. Freelance gigs, coding contracts, anything to keep me moving forward. My Airbnb still smelled like instant noodles, stale coffee, and the faintest hint of regret. But for the first time, it felt like home. My home. I thought about how much time I wasted trying to earn their approval. The years spent fixing their problems while they pretended I didn't exist. Like the time I stayed up all night, helping Ryan finish a project he forgot about, only to hear my parents say, "Ryan's so talented," while I stood there holding empty Red Bull cans. The family game nights where my wins barely got a nod, but Ryan's participation trophy got framed. But now I was free. No more awkward dinners where my achievements got overshadowed by Ryan's latest gym milestone or new investment opportunity. No more being the fallback guy. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger takes energy, and energy that was better spent on things that actually mattered, like figuring out if my microwave was possessed, trying every taco truck within a 5-mile radius, and finally buying a decent coffee maker. I focused on my career, started saving for a place that didn't come with flickering lights and questionable carpet stains, and even signed up for a gym membership I might actually use. I remember Ryan's Tesla and chuckled. It was funny how fast things changed. I started binge-watching crime documentaries without Ryan's commentary, and even found a new favorite diner where the pancakes tasted like happiness. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. No dramatic reunion. No heartfelt apologies that fixed everything. Just me, figuring life out one day at a time with a cup of gas station coffee in hand and a sarcastic grin on my face. And honestly, that was enough. Sometimes you have to walk away from those who never valued you to finally value yourself.